My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. I'm on a mission to help you have more success with plants. In this episode, I'm going to show you the plants that I've been trying to acquire over the last few months, what I've got, what came in, and what I'm going to do with it. The plants that I like to get are, I call them choice. They're not special, they're not rare, they're not difficult. They're just not easy to get hold of because not a lot of people know that they exist. If more people did, then there'll be a demand for them and they'd become more popular. So when you see rare, that often means that something is difficult. I think choice is a better way to describe the plants I like. A little special, still grow well, robust, tough, and are very easy to grow, but you just can't lay your hands on them. So what I've got to show you today are some plants that have come to me recently that I think are spectacular. And I thought I'd show you, having got these plants, what I would now do with them. So first up is this little envelope. Nothing very exciting about that, you might think. But what you have in here is some seed that came from Serbia. And the person in Serbia gave me acacia seed, got some serviceberry, and also myosotis, which is forget-me-not. So these three are freebies. These are freebies. This is what I wanted. So here on this bottom corner, you can see we've got Vigna, snail vine. Well known about Vigna and snail vine. This is Vigna caracalla or Cochleocenthus caracalla. It recently had a name change. And I get two seeds. So I'm very happy to have the free seed. I would rather have had less of the free seed and more of the seed that I wanted. But when they come from Serbia, there's not much you can do. If these grow, I'll be really, really happy. So what I have here are two seeds that really are quite diminutive. That's them. Nothing very special about those. The nice thing about seeds this size is that you can actually handle them individually. And the minute you can handle seeds individually, it's very easy to put them in water and get them to fatten up. On really small seeds, if you put them in water and try and get them to fatten up, they clump together, and then when you try and sprinkle them, it doesn't really work. So small seeds are better off sown dry, even added to sand, and then that acts as a carrier and you get a nice even distribution. But with these larger seed, I'm going to put them in water just for a few hours and let them fatten up. But the secret is, when you put plants in water, make this water warm. You just want to be able to put your fingers in it and not really feel any temperature. So not boiling by any stretch, not even hot, but not cold. You put your fingers in and it's not cold to the touch and it's not hot to the touch. And these will just get put in there for a few hours. So that's Vigna caracalla. Very, very easy. Now next up is Dahlia. I did a Dahlia video a few months ago and it's been very popular, very well received. Makes me very happy. So I've had a great friend of mine give me two Dahlia roots. This is Cafe au Lait. It's very choice, very special, but I have to say this is typical of what you'd get with a Dahlia root. It looks a little wizened, a little beaten up, not something that you would really get excited by. And I want to make sure that you can see how dry it is. We've got ridges on the tuber there and there. And what I want to do is to have shoots emerge from here. This is what will be our shooting body. These will get cut off, but I'm going to leave them on for now. So this is very easy to manage. You just want to put this in the water and let that start to rehydrate. Now these came from the same person. Thank you, Jen. And this is from one vendor, and this is from another vendor. Oh, look at that! We've got shoots on it already. Isn't that amazing? Now, given that these are the same variety, sorry, the same named plant, just look at the difference in the fruiting bodies. Now, you've got to think that these aren't the same, but they're both sold as cafe au lait. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, this one is it's called turgid, when the cells are fully hydrated and there's no slop or mess. So that is wonderful. Now what I'm going to do is just lay that one there. I'm going to put this in here probably 10 minutes. Just want that to have a little bit of water while I do something else. And we'll come back to that when it's had time to take up a little bit of water, and I'm going to pot it up immediately. This is a vendor I bought from in the past. Plant Delights is a wonderful resource for great plant material. Very choice. It's not the cheapest, but they pack it beautifully. And I thought I would share with you what I got that came for my birthday. I ordered this over a month ago. And this time of year, mail order is very difficult to get a prompt turnaround. They've got so many customers that you might get left out in the cold for a few weeks or even a month, because everybody wants to buy plants now. And it's for that reason that I buy plants out of season. I buy them throughout the year. Because I've got my greenhouse, I can take care of these plants, and it means I get this nice steady supply of plants I want, rather than waiting for very specific times of the year to only have choice to get those. So I want to open this up and show you what we have inside. Beautifully wrapped. This is a nice sturdy box. There's nothing rattling in there. So let's see what we've got. We've got two boxes. There's 2 plants here and there's 2 plants here. And this is really important because that touches this cardboard and it stops it from rattling around. So it's nicely planted. Now that is how you do plants mail order. These tall boxes are very important. Do take time to unpack it carefully. All of these boxes have got a series of clips and folding pieces of cardboard that really help keep the plant safe and secure. These little tabs need to be carefully pushed through this back support, and that way you can easily remove the plants from the other side. I get asked a lot of questions about what to do with new plants that you've got, and there really is no one answer for all new purchases. If they're too dry, they need watering. If they're too wet, they don't need watering and they should be allowed to dry out slightly. This particular vendor, I found no issues with the way they pack their plants. Very careful, very meticulous. Each plant is individually wrapped with bands in the bag. This is Colocasia. This is Black Runner, a wonderful plant. I had a different one which passed away in the winter, but I have high hopes that this is going to be even better than the one I had last year. Make sure that you take time to carefully unpack it. Now these elastic bands, I've done this myself, I haven't done it for a long time. When you remove them, it's really easy for one of them to twang and snap against your hand and then snap against a branch. And you don't want to break anything, so just take your time and carefully ease off that elastic band. And it happens in a second, and before you know it, the stem is broken, and that's very unfortunate. I always make sure that the label in the plant is the label on the list. It's not uncommon for nurseries to get plants mixed up, and I try and keep that label with that plant as long as I possibly can. Next up for my purchase is Agapanthus Stormcloud. Many people love Agapanthus, many people don't give them the time of day. And I think it's because if you see a mediocre Agapanthus, few flowers, a little bit tired, it's just not worth having. But a big full head of flowers looking very healthy is very spectacular. Now this is Agapanthus Stormcloud. It's a dark blue, slightly smaller flowers, but typically it'll have a few more flowers. So rather than 10 or 12 big heavy flowers, it might have 15 or 20 smaller ones. But it's the color that I like, and I'm looking forward to this being a fine plant to go into the planted courtyard. As ever, make sure that you get that label and stick it in the pot. This plant loves full sunshine. Plant number 3 in my little stash of goodies is Syningia tubiflora. Now, when you see a new plant name like Syningia, pronounce it the first time right, and you'll be amazed how it'll stick with you. Now, Syningia is the hardy gloxinia. Now, I've never been a fan of gloxinia. It's a house plant, very colourful, very loud, but this plant is rather special. It's got these long, spiky flowers. Well, it's a flower stem that sticks straight up, and then from it you get this long tubular flower. As the name says, tubiflora, tube flower. Needs to be 7A, 7B. Got to keep this on the warmer side. Can't leave this outside year round. But looking forward to seeing how that's going to grow for me in the planted courtyard. As ever, very optimistic, high expectations. Nice healthy plant. Nothing damaged, nothing broken. So looking forward to that one growing. Next is Clematis. Now Clematis have got, like the Agapanthus, either you love them or you hate them. They do tend to be a bit of a one-trick pony that come late spring, early summer, they're flowered and done their thing. This is Clematis raguchi. This was discovered in the 90s, and this is a prolific flower. This will just keep on going. So I haven't quite decided where I'm going to put this plant, but having this Clematis raguchi means that year in, year out, this plant will have a long flowering period, which is something very important to me. I don't want 2 weeks of colour, I want 3 months of colour. Beautiful shaped flowers and nice dark blue colour. So, Clematis raguchi. So I've just got some fresh potting mix here. I should say that I don't want you to think that every plant I touch just magically grows. I've had my fair share of failures in the past, and I think that failures are a natural evolution of skill. You're never ever going to start something brand new and find out that you're just perfect at it. There's always going to be a learning curve. Well, with plants, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think the secret is start off with the basics and then work your way up. I like to think that I have pretty good success with my plants, but every now and then something doesn't work. And that's why I had to rebuy this beautiful black colocasia. The ones that I had last year that really were spectacular got chilled in the winter because I had a little heating faux pas in my greenhouse. And all it needs is a couple of days for that temperature to be a little bit lower than you think it is. The plants can't handle it. So I had to rebuy it. But that's okay. It won't be long before people know that you're into plants, and you might have plants to trade and exchange, and then they'll be giving you plants to trade and exchange. So this has had a little time to take in water. Now, this could be left in there another hour, but I can tell, there's nothing about this that makes me think this isn't ready to plant. This is a beautiful root. Absolutely first class. So I'm going to quickly pot this up. Now what I want to do is make sure I get this at the right height. And that little shimmy where you just shake it really helps. Now the trick here is that you want to make sure that you know where these shoots are and not plant it super deep that the shoots have to grow through the dirt. At the same time, you don't want to go too light. Now I always press around the edges and avoid pressing in the middle. There we go. Now what I should do is have a label to go in there so I know exactly what it is. But that will be just fine. We've got our seeds soaking in here. They'll get put into a pot and put in the greenhouse with a label. I'm not going to cut them, I'm not going to scratch them, just let them soak for an hour or two. And they'll each get put into a pot of about that size. So look at that. Dahlia Caffeole soaking, 2 Vigna Caracalla, another Caffeole Dahlia here, and then Clematis, Agapanthus, Colocasia, and Sagina. And this is how I like to get my plants, a little collection of choice plants that are not so easily to find. So on that note, thank you for watching Planted. I love doing these videos. Every week I'm coming up with a new idea. And in recent months, because of the Dahlia video, subscribers are up, and for that I'm very grateful. We've got subscribers all over the world, and it's amazing that you can put a video on YouTube and lots of people get to watch it. So for those that have subscribed, I would encourage you, recently subscribed, I would encourage you to go back through the archive and look at some of the earlier videos. I think the way I want Planted to work is that every video's got a pointed goal to share with you to help you make better decisions. But it's amazing how one video will connect to another video, to give you a nice broad grounding. So last year I did a whole bunch of videos on the courtyard and the plants I chose, and that, if you go back and watch those, you'll now have a chance to know where I'm going this year and the changes that I've made. If you think the videos are good, please hit that like button, and if you think they're really good, then perhaps if you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe. And I think the key is that I just want to give good information, stuff that's worked for me that I think will work for you. Horticulture, planting and gardening is very popular now. There's lots and lots of people with an opinion about how things should grow. The stuff I share with you is what I've done, and I've proved that it's worked in the past. So thank you for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family. Happy planting.